Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now a lot of the time I am cutting and carving and polishing opal. Typically Australian opal like this one here, as you can see from the back, that is a boulder opal. But today I'm not going to do an opal. For today's carving video, I'm going to do something that's been heavily requested and it's been on my to-do list for more than a year. I just never got around to doing it. And that is setting the opal aside. Instead, what we're going to work on is this, plastic. So a lot of people ask about plastic, especially because I sell cerium oxide, and a lot of people know that cerium oxide is used a lot in windscreens, but people also wonder if it can be used on headlights. The quick answer to that is no, I wouldn't recommend it, but I will show you what I would recommend. Now, because I have these sandpaper burrs, we will use these to demonstrate sandpaper. But a lot of the time I would say sandpaper followed up with aluminium oxide is the way to go. Plastic is very different to glass, which means it's much different to opal, but the principles are still the same. As you can see from this one here, there are a lot of pretty heavy scuff marks and scratches. The clarity of these ones is terrible, which is why I've pulled them out of my lab. These are destined for the bin. And now would be a good time to mention not to do this with safety glasses in particular. If you look right here, it's a bit hard to see, but that is a stamp that tells you the Australian standard, and other countries will have other standards. Once you start sanding this down, you are actually changing the strength and all of the coatings that are on this plastic. I'm only using these because they are destined for the bin, and because this is polycarb, and something like a car's headlight covers, they are also polycarb. So this is just a small sample piece of polycarb. You can completely forget that they're actually a pair of safety glasses that have been treated incredibly poorly. So all of these scuffs and scratches that you can't even see through when you put this in front of your eyeballs, we're going to get rid of all of those on one side and we'll keep it still scuffed on the other side, and you can see the difference. The principles are going to be exactly the same as with an opal. And in essence, that is just smaller and smaller scratches and then a final polishing compound. Now, my sandpaper kit goes all the way down to 240. We probably won't have to go that far, the scratches aren't that deep, and they go all the way up to 5,000. For someone more working on something like car headlights, here is a 6-inch disc that can be mounted onto something like an orbital sander. Now, if you look at the face of this one, it's super fine. I'm getting these made up to 10,000 grit and then using them with a Velcro pad 6 inches, so this is actually used for the flat lap. It's a product I'm still testing just a little bit, but once I have finished testing it, it'll be good to go and I'll chuck it up on the website. I've got a bunch of new products for this year that need to go up there. I just got to get photographing and just run through a couple final tests to make sure I'm happy. But for today, we're just going to do a small sample and I'll show you up to 5,000. A lot of people that professionally repolish car headlights actually only go up to 3,000. I'll take it a tiny step further than that and then hit it with the aluminium oxide. So let's spin up and I'll show you how to work on plastic. There are a couple little tricks that we need to keep in mind. Alright, and we are off, so have a look at this. Some of these scratches, you've got to look at the deepest ones and work out what kind of grit you need to go down to. Now we're not going to work on the whole lens, we're just going to do a small amount, but you also want to check how repellent of water the plastic is, and you might need to add a little bit of dishwashing detergent to just wet the surface a little bit better. And here we're going to start with the 400. Listen to the motor. We are spinning super slow. Too fast and you can create a lot of heat with friction, and then you get the melting burning, and that is not polishing, that is just going to destroy whatever you're working on. So you've got to be a little bit careful of all of that. Take it slow, take it easy, and do not panic when you see this frosted effect. That is what's going to happen. To get rid of those deep scratches, you need to go this far. Make sure that you check this area and make sure all those deep scratches are actually gone. You'll still see them. That means you're going to have to drop back grits. But in this case, we're okay. There weren't too many really bad ones towards that bottom edge. And then you want to progress by doubling your grits each time. Eventually, you're going to get through to the end, which normally is 3,000, for me 5,000, and you can see we're starting to get a reflection back. Still a little bit frosted, but a good reflection, and you can see your finger behind it. So now we're going to go for aluminium oxide, or aluminum oxide for my American friends. And this is a sub 0.3 micron one that I sell on the store normally. And we're just going to put it on. I've put it on really thick, and I'm slowly adding water to it over time. You don't want to wash this off ever. You just want to keep it there, and you want to keep it working. Aluminium oxide is a really fine, hard powder. It's just one step down from diamond and about 3 steps up from cerium oxide. And what it does is it just acts as a tiny little abrasive. Anything softer than it, it will just chew up really nice and get a really fine finish. I use this in the laboratory sometimes. It is super good stuff, and on materials that are typically quite hard or don't respond to cerium oxide, this is the way to go. Cerium oxide is doing like a 50-50 split between a chemical polishing where it actually reacts with the surface of a silicon oxide material, whereas aluminium oxide doesn't care what material it is, it's always going to act the same. It's just going to chew up the surface really fine. Just make sure you go under 0.3 micron for the final stage. This is the kind of final polish I use for gemstones, I would use for plastic, I use for carbon. I use it for a lot of different things, so it's definitely the way to go, and you'll see how good it works in a second. Alright, so there you have it. You can see here, you are looking at the opal I had earlier in the video through that section of the glasses that I have polished up, and you can see the scratches are gone, you can see straight through it. If we go further up, this is what the glasses were like, so this is an area I didn't work on, all scratched, all scuffed. You get down here, really nice. I still don't advise doing this for safety glasses, like I said. I'm pretty sure you throw all the standards out the window as soon as you do this. But you can see, working on something like polycarb plastic, it is not too difficult at all. The camera doesn't know which one to focus on, the opal or the glasses in front of it. If we switch right over to this other lens, so this is the side that I didn't work on at all. You can see why I pulled these out of the lab. There is no safety in wearing these in the lab anymore. It is too scuffed, and you can see the camera is even focusing on the glasses rather than the opal behind, because it can actually see a lot of scratches and scuffs itself. Move back over to here, starts focusing back on the opal. So hopefully that helps anyone trying to work with plastics of whatever kind. The key is you've really got to be aware, that's a really nice spot of opal, you've got to be really aware of the temperature that you're carving at. You might not think it's getting hot, but locally the friction is pretty huge, and if you're spinning real fast, you will melt it. I was spinning just at about the slowest rate that I could consistently hold with the Fordham. You can actually just do all of this by hand as well. It is super soft. We talk about opal being soft, but in comparison to opal, polycarb is even softer still, and much more temperature sensitive. Opal, yeah, we might get a crack or something, but with this plastic, it will just melt, and then you'll just get a lot of smearing and melty effects. Not good. You really have to keep it cool. You might think the glass transition temperature of 140 or something is pretty high. It really isn't. Friction is ridiculous when it comes to heat. Anyway, normally I work on actual opal, so I've got to get back to that. This was a little bit of a side project that's been sitting around in my mind for about a year. It's been on paper as well, and I've just ignored it the whole time because I spend way too much time just cutting opal, but I'm going to go straight back to it anyway. You can never cut too much opal. Good luck, stay safe, have fun, good luck with your carving.